Okay. So, hello and welcome everyone to our very spooky seminar. Happy Halloween to you all. It's been a little while since our last webinar, and there's a lot of new things we've been working on since then. And we're very excited to share them all with you today. This seminar will be presented by Steve Pressman. He's our alien in chief. You can see him on the webcam there. And
Well,
Matthew Alexander, wall crawler. Thank you so much for tolerating that. That was fun.
no, I can breathe. That's great.
So before we begin, I just want to go over a couple housekeeping items. All of the microphones have been muted, and your webcam won't be necessary, but if you have a fun costume or you just want to say hi, please feel free, be our guest. If you have any questions at all over the course of the webinar, don't hesitate to throw them in the chat. We have the amazing Carrie there to answer them. But if it is a more specific question about your system, again, you could drop it in the chat and we'll have support follow up with you after the seminar. The seminar is being recorded, so if you need to leave early or if a friend or a colleague wasn't able to make it today, not a problem. We've got you covered. There will be a 15-minute Q&A session towards the end of the seminar as well. Now, I'm going to take a moment to go over our agenda for today. Lots of stuff to cover, but we're going to be beginning with the latest client portal enhancements. There's some updates to our billing service as well. We're going to be covering those. We're going to be looking at some of the different ways you can communicate through Practice Perfect, namely through texting, faxing, and we're also going to look at PenPal AI. We'll give a little status update on the trial, let you know where we're at with that. There's been a bunch of other key changes over the course of the past year, so Steve's going to be diving into those, and we're going to give you a preview of what's coming next. So, without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Steve, and he's going to talk to us a bit about the client portal enhancements.
Well, happy Friday, everybody, and happy Halloween to everybody as well. What we're going to start with is we're going to start with sort of some of the more recent enhancements to our client portal. And for those of you that don't know, let me just share my screen and make sure that you can see it properly here. So for those of you that don't know, and some of you don't seem to know, we do have a client portal. Client portal allows your patients to register themselves online, book appointments online. They can now cancel appointments online. They can see what their account looks like online. They can pay their bills online, and they can exchange documents with you. They can upload and download documents with you at the same time. Um, so all of these things are available at the client portal. If you want more information about the client portal, let support know. We have some videos on it. They can tell you more about it, that sort of thing. But what I do want to talk about is some of the enhancements we have made to the client portal, probably over the past year or so. Some of these may be old news to some of you. They may be new to some of you. And we're continuing to make enhancements to the client portal as well. It seems to be becoming a very key part of operating a practice. So in no particular order. The first thing I want to talk about is the ability for a guest to book appointments with you. One of the early complaints that we received about the portal was the fact that patients had to register in order to book an appointment, and it was basically a big barrier. Patients didn't want to. Um, didn't want to have to go through and put their name and everything in just to be able to book an appointment. So we do have something on here you may or may not have seen, which is called Schedule as a Guest. And what this does allow you to do is if you're new to the clinic, if you don't want to register, you just want to see what's available, you can do that. You can actually go into to the portal. For those of you that haven't seen the portal, I'm looking for a 40-minute massage that's being offered by Stevie, and Stevie's times come up, and then the patient can pick the time. So you can be a guest. You don't have to register to see what's available. Once you do pick an appointment time, you will be asked to register. We need to know who the patient is once they've selected a time. But anybody can log in and see the times now without having registered. So hopefully, again, we're trying to reduce impediments to booking. One of the other things that is available in the portal is for those of you that have multiple locations. And let me actually see if I can go back a step and take you to what that looks like here. For those of you that do have multiple locations, let me just bring this up here, see if it'll let me do this. When you go to the portal, you can pick which location you want the patient to actually attend, or the patient can pick which location they want to actually attend. Some of our clinics have said, I don't want the patients being able to necessarily do that. Even sort of the new or the existing patients, or even the new patients. And on your website, you may have a separate link for each location. So maybe you have two locations and you have a link on your website for location one and a link on your website for location two. We can now do that. You can now have different links for different locations in the client portal, and then only that location would show up. So if you have a situation, again, it may be very specific, where you have multiple locations, where you want a different link for each location, where you don't want the link being able to take you to multiple locations, we can do that for you. Just contact support and they'll get that set up for you. So you don't have to show all the locations on here. Getting a bit specific, I'm going to actually log in to the portal here under a specific patient. One of the concerns we had from the financial end, let me see if I can do that again. There we go. One of the things you can do with the client portal that you may or may not be aware of is you can have patients pay their bills from the client portal. And one of the concerns we had, and we have all the charges, we have unpaid charges, we have all the payments they've made. One of the concerns we were receiving was, I don't want patients being able to pay the bill for things that haven't been invoiced yet. So yeah, I put 10 charges into the system, but I haven't actually sent them a bill yet. And when they're coming in here, they're seeing charges that they haven't received yet. So they don't even know they have them. They're phoning the clinic and they're saying, why are there three more charges on my screen than what I received from you? So we now have a setting. If you do want to limit that, we'd have a setting now under in here. And again, don't worry if you don't remember this. First of all, again, we're posting the video. Secondly, you can certainly call support after the fact and get more information on this. But you can now go into customize client portal, and you can say under the general tab, only show invoiced charges. So that will basically mean that when the patient goes into the portal, they're only going to see charges that have been invoiced. If I untick this, it means they're going to see all the charges, whether they've been invoiced or not. So that's a new feature as well. Going to something totally different with the client portal. A lot of people don't know about this one. Under settings, client portal, we have something called post-registration instructions. And what this allows you to do is enter a series of, I guess, a page of instructions following registration. So once the patient actually registers on the portal, they fill out all their information. I'll show you this in a moment. You can actually include things like this. You can say, thanks for registering. We look forward to seeing you. Can you please click on the links below and complete these additional forms? Then we have links to your custom form. So how does this look for the patient? And again, if you need help setting this up, please contact support. When the patient registers, and I'll see if I can very quickly register someone here. We're going to log out, and I'm going to become a new patient, my downtown clinic. I'm going to put in just some dummy information. What did I put here? 111111111 A 1111111 explanation A. Their terms and conditions come up. Let's go get the Zoom thing out of the way here. We're just going to put in some dummy information very quickly. Uh, we will do all their policies. By the way, if this is new to a lot of you, phone support. There's no charge for this portal, for this client portal. But once they've registered, they will get that in that box that shows up. And that's the stuff I had sent up over here under the client portal post-registration instructions. So the patient will see, thanks for registering, and please click on the links below to complete these additional forms. And these would be the custom forms that we offer. So again, if this is something you want to add to your portal, if the portal is brand new to you, again, this is something that a lot of people don't know about. It's been there for quite a while. Here is a big one. We have added something that a lot of people have been asking for quite a long time on the client portal, and that is called cluster booking. What is cluster booking? Cluster booking allows you to basically limit um, how much time is between appointments that a patient is allowed to book. Let me give you an example. We have Heather, our provider here, and Heather is maybe working from 9 to 5. And Heather has a bunch of appointments that are booked from 9 to noon, but nothing booked in the afternoon. Her afternoon is wide open. Everything's available. And Heather has decided, or the clinic's decided, that if there is a 120-minute gap between the end of one appointment and the beginning of another, there shouldn't be a booking allowed in there. Let me give you an example of that. For example, again, let's say Heather is booked from 9 to 12. She's got a bunch of appointments. Her afternoon is wide open. And Heather doesn't want any appointments booked after 2 o'clock. She's happy to wait from 12 to 2 to see if anybody comes in. But, after 2 o'clock, she doesn't want to wait around all afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock for an appointment. By setting up a maximum web booking maximum separation, that allows you to say, I'm not permitting a therapist to sit around for more than 2 hours without an appointment, which means that any appointments that are available in the afternoon will not be available. Anything from 2 o'clock on, in Heather's case, will not show up as an available time. So we call this cluster booking. It's a little difficult to explain, but this is something that's now available in the system as well. And again, the main reason for this is to allow you to prevent a patient from booking, let's say at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, when Heather's only got appointments booked up till noon, so she's not waiting around for the rest of the day. However, as a user, you can book whenever you want. The actual desktop or web version for the clinic user doesn't respect the cluster booking. As a patient, or sorry, as a user, you can book appointments anytime you like. That's up to the user to decide whether or not they want to book a patient in. If for some reason a patient has nothing or a therapist has nothing booked, the cluster booking doesn't affect anything because we need a sort of an initial appointment to make it work. So again, if the day is empty, totally empty, the cluster booking setting is basically not respected. And where is that again? It's under scheduled providers, and it is this field right here, web booking maximum separation. Again, you need the most recent update, which is 659. We're going to talk about updates in a couple of moments here to be able to use this feature. A lot of people have been looking for this. Back to a bit more of a minor setting on the client portal. Some people were basically asking to not allow patients to book on old incidents. If a patient has multiple incidents, you were allowed. I don't know if I have a good example here or not. Let's see if I can show you. I don't know if this patient has old incidents or not. But basically, when the patient was booking an appointment, they could pick, there we go, they could pick which incident they wanted to book for, okay? And again, we've had a lot of clinics that have said to us, I don't want them being able to book on an old incident. So you can now limit that. Where are we here? Under settings, again, client portal, we're spending a lot of time in settings, customized client portal. You can now say that clients can book appointments online for active incidents only. They're not allowed to book at all, or for all incidents. All incidents means that they can book for any incident that's there. Active incidents only means only on non-discharged incidents. So that's something that can now be set. You may or may not have known about that. Our last big change to the portal, which is a big one, something people have been asking about for a long time, is the ability for patients to cancel their own appointments online. Now, I'm kind of on the fence with this one. I don't think it should be quite so easy for patients to cancel appointments, but it is something that people have been asking for. So what does the patient see? The patient sees this. They can go to their list of appointments here. Hold on, let's just go back a step here. They can go to a list of their pending appointments. And right from here, they can cancel. So that little cancel option comes up. Yes, this can be turned off. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So right from here, let's say that today's appointment at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the patient wants to cancel. Um, Here's the details. Your Friday appointment, 1 o'clock with Heather. They do have to put a reason in. I am ill. These reasons show up in the comments right on the scheduler cell for that patient. And I agree to the cancellation policy. We're going to talk about where this gets set up in a moment, but the cancellation policy can show up. Cancellations maybe within 24 hours, maybe subject to a fee at our discretion. We're going to talk about that in a moment. So we're going to say, I agree to the cancellation policy. We keep that on file. We know they've agreed to the policy. We confirm cancellation. It's now canceled, and it shows up on their schedule as canceled. Now, in Practice Perfect, let's take a look at that. A couple things. First of all, if I'm on the right database here, you will see that Jackie canceled today, and you will see the reason that Jackie canceled today. So we're seeing her reason right away. That's immediately reflected in the schedule as well. Matt's going to talk about texting in a moment, where that comes into play as well. So how do we set this up? How do we turn this on? Well, again, under Customized Client Portal, same option we've been looking at, there is a new option called Clients Can Cancel Appointments. If that is unticked, patients they will not see the cancel option. It does not even come up as an option. So that's how you basically turn that off and on. Let's say you want cancellations available, but you do have certain patients that abuse the privilege. You can, in each client, under Incidents, Portal, say they can't cancel. So if you do have certain patients that are abusing the online cancellation, you don't have to throw out the baby with the bathwater. You can turn off cancellations for just one patient. Again, I'm going a bit quickly here, lots to cover, but again, if there's any issues with that, call support. They can walk you through it. The main thing to walk away from is, yes, you can now cancel appointments online. Where do you set that policy up? Do you remember the policy that said you got to cancel within 24 hours, or after 24 hours, you're going to be billed? It is under Customized Client Portal, same place, Patient Portal Policies, and it's right here, Patient Online Cancellation Policy, and that's where you put in the verbiage that the patient will see when they try to cancel. We've tried to make this as flexible as possible because everybody wants something a little bit different. And those are our updates for the client portal. We'll talk a little later on about new things we have planned for the portal, some other functions as well. And again, Matt's going to go into some of the texting as well. So again, any questions about that, please don't hesitate to contact support. And Matt, do you want to throw up the next topic we're going to talk about? And this is going to
Absolutely.
be a shameless plug. We're taking 3 minutes for a shameless plug in here as well. So just bear with us for our shameless plug. As some of you know, as most of you know, we do deal with a billing company, Clinical Billing Solutions. This is relevant to our American accounts, not to our Canadian accounts. And I just want to reiterate that again, the billing service is not for everybody. Some of you are struggling with billing, just with collections. It's a big job. Insurance companies are getting more and more picky about what's coming in. They're finding any reason to deny claims. Others of you are having no problem with it at all. So this is not for everybody. But we do find a number of people do like to use a billing company. So we just want to reiterate that we do work closely with Clinical Billing Solutions, and they basically, as an option, can take over your billing. They can take over your claim submissions, chasing down those claims that aren't being paid, that sort of thing. Dealing with the insurance company, they do a lot of scrubbing before claims go out the door. Claims are going out every day. So I just want to very quickly run through some of the things that they do, some of the stats that they've come up with after doing this for several years. They're finding in a lot of clinics that are having problems with billing, that 10 to 25% of revenue is lost due to delayed claims, denials, or manual errors. Things aren't being sent in on a timely basis. Errors are being made, wrong modifiers are being used, that sort of thing. They're having limited reporting from the clearinghouses or from the insurance companies. There are, about follow up, and there's inefficiencies in following claims up. You're waiting too long to follow up because you're busy running a clinic. Next slide, Matt, if you don't mind. So the solution is using a billing service, and we like clinical billing solutions because they use Practice Perfect, and they know it well. We work very closely with them to automate things even further. So a couple of things they do. They automate claim submission, which is great. Just means the faster you're getting things into the insurance company, the faster they're getting paid. They've started using AI to deal with a lot of these things, which means that they're not waiting for a human being to touch every claim. So if claims are being denied, the AI is actually dealing with why they're being denied and resubmitting them accordingly. So it's a bit, it's less human intensive. It means things are getting addressed much more quickly and turned around much more quickly and sent back to the insurance company. They're posting your payments daily and reporting them back to you. So there's full transparency. You can see exactly what they're doing. The beauty of them using Practice Perfect is you can run in and run your receivables reports and run your payment reports and see what's going on. You don't have to wait for them. They're dealing with eligibility and benefits verification, which is obviously results in fewer rejections. And you have a dedicated account manager, and it's very personalized and optimized specifically for your practice. So that's some of the services that they're offering. Again, not everybody can benefit from a billing company, but we found that they do definitely help some. They have seen 20 to 30% increase in monthly collections within 90 days. So clinics are getting more money that hopefully dramatically offsets the cost for using a billing service. You're getting your money faster, no backlog. And again, you're not having to worry about your staff in the clinic dealing with these particular things. So the hope of the billing company is the extra money that you're bringing in denied claims and delayed claims offsets what they're charging. And I'm not going to talk about what they're charging. That's between you and clinical billing solutions. But they do charge a percentage of collections only. So if you do want to learn more about it, there's no obligation. Here's the contact information, Michael at clinicalbillingsolutions.com, or contact us. We can put you in touch with them. I asked them, okay, what can you do for us? What can you do for our users? Without them sort of making some big commitment, they will do a no charge billing and workflow review with you. So if you're interested in having them kind of take a look at what you're doing, is there opportunity to improve it? Can they be of service or even just some sort of helpful pointers for no charge? They will do a whole review of how you're doing your billing and your workflow to see if there's any big gaps there. So again, if there's any interest in that, and again, um, I know these guys are not going to, they're going to push to a degree, but they're an honest bunch and it's worth taking a look at. So again, anybody wants to look at beginning to use a billing service, please give them a call or us a call and have a conversation. And now I'm going to hand things. That's the end of the shameless promotion portion of our seminar. And I'm now going to hand things back over to Matt to talk about all sorts of cool new things we're doing with texting and wire client.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve.
Welcome.
So I'm going to close this guy here and pull up my copy of Practice Perfect. So in our latest release, 659, we've added a number of new ways that you can text patients automatically in certain situations. So we're really trying to treat Practice Perfect as the main point of entry. We don't want you having to log into Wire Client and send messages manually. So these are just going to be based on your natural workflows in here in Practice Perfect. All of these options can be found in the settings, other settings, and then wired client panel. For many of the wired client users on this call, you may not have visited this screen since our initial training session, and you'll be surprised to see just how many new options we've added here. Most recently, we've added the ability to text providers when a patient arrives. If the provider is at the back of the office or hanging out in a kitchen or a treatment room just waiting for the patient to arrive, we can automatically send them a text to their personal device to let them know that the patient's here. And all that the front desk has to do to trigger that message is to change the appointment status from pending to arrived. So again, we want to stick with that natural workflow. We can also text a provider if a patient cancels. So if a patient cancels their appointment, we can automatically text them notifying them about this. And this is especially helpful if the provider works at different clinic locations or if they do home care, so they don't end up making a trip for no reason. We can text the provider when a patient books. So on the flip side, we'll let them know when they book an appointment, whether that's done in the office or they book through the client portal. We can send them a text to their personal device, letting them know about that. We can also text the clients when their appointments are canceled, either by the clinic or the patient. If an appointment is canceled by the clinic, the patient will receive a text message confirming the cancellation. And we can also customize what that cancellation text is going to say. So we can see in our example here, we're putting the clinic phone number, so they're encouraged to give you a call and get that rebooked. And then we are also texting clients when appointments are booked at the moment they're booked. And the thinking here is that as soon as you book that appointment for the patient, they get that text on their phone. As long as they're using a smartphone, they can actually click the date and time in that text message and add it to their calendar right away. This is in addition to that 24-hour or 48-hour before the appointment message that they'd be getting. So really what we want to do is leave little to no opportunity for them to forget about that appointment. So all of these are available in 659. So if you need a hand with the upgrade or if you wanted to test out any of these settings, it's just a matter of getting in touch with support and we can help you get that going. One other fun way to text in here I want to touch on is we can actually select a client and just click this little gray chat bubble and we can send a message right here instantly. Click OK. And that's going directly from Practice Perfect to the client's phone. I think this phone number may be Steve's phone. So if you got that, hello. Hope you're having a great day. Uh, oh, there we go. We're seeing that text right there live. Awesome. And what we will be adding in the future, see, we'll touch on this a little more later in the presentation. But the thinking is we want the replies to come into Practice Perfect as well. So that's something that our development team is kicking around right now. But we're looking forward to offering that full two-way texting all within the EMR system. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about was our PenPal AI trial. So, if you've been paying attention to our newsletters, our blog posts over the past year, you may know that we are doing some AI scribe, AI dictation for your medical notes. And I want to start by saying we've learned a lot since launching PenPal AI earlier this year. And if we're being honest, it isn't quite as turnkey as we would have hoped. We have made a number of updates and changes to it over the course of the last year, and they've been a direct result of the feedback we've received from our users. For example, we learned that there are many who didn't want AI to reinterpret their transcript, they just wanted dictation. So we added that. Similar to Dragon, I can show you what that looks like. I'm going to pull up my client profile here, and I'm just going to go into the note. Here's one I was working on earlier today. All right. And initially, PenPal was only available in the web app. We've now added it to the desktop app. And in the desktop app, we have this little microphone icon next to each field in our SOAP note. So if I want to enter some content in my subjective, we can say, click this here, we can record, and I want this exact text to be entered in my note. I click done, takes a second to process. We get the transcript. It's exactly what I spoke into the microphone. And I'm just going to hit overwrite. And that just gets plunked into my note automatically. So we are working now on the ability to process longer form transcripts, such as conversations between therapists and their clients. But it isn't just a matter of increasing the maximum recording length and clicking the microphone icon. There's a bit more tinkering that we need to do under the hood. So we're in the process of that right now. And all that said, we are still accepting trial users. So if you and your staff would like to try it out for yourself in clinic, you can get in touch with us today. We'll be happy to help you get started. In most cases, it's just a matter of ensuring that you're on the latest release and having support connect with you to enable it for each of your providers. But all we ask in return is your feedback. We're in the learning process here, and your feedback matters to us. Is what ultimately shapes this system and what the features look like. So we're hoping to hear from you in that regard.
Yeah, Matt, do you mind if I say a couple words?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So basically, again, what Matt sort of went through here is more of a dictation, not so much of an AI thing, but they kind of go hand in hand because a lot of our clinics were saying to us, look, we don't want AI. We don't want the notes, as Matt was saying, reinterpreted. We just want to be able to record what we're saying without having to use some sort of external program. So we do have the AI as well, where you can dictate an entire note and have it automatically sort of plug things into the right section. So that is still there, the ability to actually do sort of proper AI where you're doing dictation and everything is showing up where it's supposed to show up. Now, AI is changing daily. I mean, literally daily. It's being enhanced. So we're looking more and more at leveraging that and trying to get ahead of the curve with it, if at all possible. Not just for things like the daily notes or for your evaluations, but even things like, for example, as an owner of a practice, you're walking in and you sit down and you say, "Hey AI, how did we do last week?" And all of a sudden, all sorts of information is going to come up on your screen about how many referrals you had and your revenue. Or, "Hey AI, I want to bill this patient 5 units of 97110 and have it automatically sort of plug into their account." So we see this as going beyond just documentation, but into the operations of the clinic as well, and really helping to sort of streamline things. But it's still a bit of the wild west out there with AI, and really evolving, very, very quickly. And the computing power is increasing as well. So what we need to do AI is taking more and more resources because people want to record these hour-long conversations, that sort of thing. The other thing that we get asked about is my clinic is very loud. How does AI deal with that? Or I have an accent, and how does AI deal with that? And again, those are more technical. We haven't quite figured that out yet. If the AI, what AI does is take what you've entered and properly, divvy it up. AI has nothing to do with accents or a loud clinic. If the clinic is very loud and the microphone's not picking things up, that's a problem. We're not quite sure how to get around that, quite frankly. But that's more of a technical issue. But we are getting some questions about that as well, if anybody's asking about that. And I think that's all I have to say about AI.
Oh, cool. Appreciate that, Steve.
It's a thorny topic.
No, and to that end, just to demonstrate what the AI side of PenPal looks like, not just the dictation, that was a more recent addition, but for example, this is based on a true life story. Matt tripped a couple weeks ago at his weekly basketball game and rolled his ankle. He's currently been for 3 physiotherapy sessions. The improvements aren't really happening, so we're going to send him off for some more imaging. It's going to take a second to process the transcript, and it's filled out the entire note based on what I just spoken to the microphone. So that's the other half of it. Now, I do want to take a moment to talk about our inbound faxing service as well. We've been offering outbound faxing for a few years now, and since the dawn, people were asking us if we'd be able to do inbound too, and we just started offering that this year. The way it works is we're able to port your fax number into our system, so any faxes that you receive appear directly in Practice Perfect. It actually works a lot like our online intake form. So we're leveraging the pending forms section here. And anytime you receive a fax, you get a pop-up notification in Practice Perfect, similar to the reminders that you can create for yourself or other users. And it prompts you to head over to this screen. So we can see a complete list of all the different faxes we've received. And from there, you can actually select the fax. Here's one that I sent to myself yesterday. I can click this little magnifying glass to see the fax. Oh, look, it's our slideshow. There we go. And once I know which patient this belongs to, I'm able to click the import button. I can choose which client profile I want to assign it to. Okay, I want to assign it to mine. I can say which incident it's related to. I can put my description there. and click OK. Oops, need a provider as well. There we go. And then it disappears from the pending form. So could be a bit of a simpler workflow, especially if you're using a traditional fax machine and scanning those documents and manually uploading to the system. Really, we think that's just going to be a big step towards making the clinic paperless.
Matt,
Uh,
can you show them where that document ended up?
yeah, absolutely. So I'll go over to my profile, and here we can see my slides.
Under activities by document. Thank you.
There we go. Now the cost for this service, wish we could do it for free, but there is a cost. There is just a one-time fee of $50 to support the number, $10 per month to host the number, and then it's 7 cents per page received. We just have to grab a copy of your most recent faxing invoice from your current provider and have you complete a letter of authorization, which allows our carrier to port the number. And the entire process is about 2 to 3 weeks to get started. And just as a reminder, we do have outbound faxing as well. So if I did want to fax a document from within here, for example, I can just flag it, click the printer icon, choose Practice Perfect Fax. And then from here, I can choose which doctor's office I want to send it to, which lawyer I want to send it to. If there's an incident physician, a family physician, their names will default here. We put a comment, we click fax, and then it just gets sent directly from Practice Perfect. But yeah, that's it for our faxing service, PenPal AI, and texting. So I'm going to turn it back over to Steve now, and we're going to talk about some of the other things that have come in the past year.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Again, anybody's got any questions about any of that, directed to right to support, and they'll put you in touch with the right person. So I want to talk about some of the, again, in no particular order, some of the updates that we have done in the past little while, probably over the course of the past year. Not every update. There's hundreds and hundreds of little updates that are available. But of changes that are available, I'm going to talk about the big ones. By the way, I think before we do that, I want to go to show you guys where this is. Some of you know about it, some of you do not. There's a website, www.practiceperfect.emr.com/releases. Under here, we list all of the releases that we have done, and this is going back several years at this point in time. So if you want to see, for example, what's on release, 659, let's say you're on 642. You go into Practice Perfect and it says, you go into help and about, it says you're on 642. Well, then we want to kind of look at all of these and see what's on these updates, anything sort of more recent than what you're on. So for example, if I want to see what's on release 659, we click on it, and it's going to show you basically financial, generic invoices, waiting list pop-ups. So it goes through each category and literally cluster booking, the thing I just spoke about. So all these things are on these release notes. Let's say, for example, you say, well, okay, I want to see what they've done with the client portal over the past while. We can do that. I can say release by category, and I just want to see what's changed with the patient portal. And I can see just those changes as well. So we encourage you to always visit this website to see what is going on, and it will always show you the most recent release version and the date. So I do encourage you to do that. Now let's get into some of the more recent key changes. There's about 6 or 7 of them I do want to cover. Number one is we've made some changes to the waiting list, the way the waiting list works. And we're going to be making additional changes to the waiting list. First of all, when the big changes here are mainly having to do with when an appointment pops up. So let me just force an appointment to pop up here. We're going to move Cliff over here, which is going to open up a bunch of people for the Monday appointment. So the pop-up screen that shows up when you move an appointment around, when you make space available for somebody, we've made a bunch of changes here. First of all, you're now going to see some of the coverage and other information and notes about each individual patient. This is brand new. So instead of you having to go into Sylvia's record and see what she's got left and see what her balance is and see what she's all up to and any comments, it's all available right up here. So that's a bit of hopefully a bit of a time saver. The second thing is right from here, you can now either text or email the patients with this information. So for example, let's say I want these patients to all receive a text message about the fact that these appointments are available. I can click on that button and and the text message is going out to all three patients. Or I can click on email, and an email will get sent. I'm missing a setup on the email, but an email will get sent to all three of those patients as well. What are they getting? What are they seeing? It is set up under, where are we here? Customize email. So settings, customize email appointment notification, waiting list emails. This should really say waiting list email and text. So you can set up the text they're getting. An appointment has opened up for you at our facility. The appointment is then shown. That's a subject line. Please reply and let us know as soon as possible. Maybe you want to put your phone number in here as well. So not only can you have automatically the messages go out to these patients, either text or email, you can customize exactly what they're seeing. The next step with that, just so you know, is the ability for the patients to actually click a button and book. So let's say three patients get a waiting list reminder. Number one right away says, yes, I want the appointment. The appointment will get booked, and the other two will get a notice that the appointment's no longer available. So that's sort of the next part of the chain of the waiting list management. So there's some big changes with the waiting lists that are there and some changes that are coming. Um, Onto a totally different topic. There are a couple changes to our invoices that we have done, and some of them are very minor, and one of them is something people have been asking for a very, very long time. I'm going to show you the minor one first. A couple of our clinics use a different payment service than what we use, and that payment service is accessed using a QR code. So they've set something up where they want the patients to be able to take a picture of a QR code on their invoice, and it takes them to some other kind of payment portal. I'm unfamiliar with what portal they're using. So you can now, if that's the case, actually have a QR code added onto your invoices. At the very bottom here, you'll see it. Little QR code shows up. You would have to define the QR code and set it up with the payment processor. We can't do any of that, but you can now include the QR code or a picture if you want, it doesn't really matter, onto your invoices. Not many people are using this, but it is an option. And maybe it does have something to do with payments. Maybe it just has to do with, maybe it's the clinic's website. You just want to take a picture of that and the clinic's website. Or maybe that link takes you right to the client portal. So they click on that and it takes them right to the client portal. That is also definable. Maybe click on the QR code to take you to our client portal, and then they can come in and pay the bill, directly through the client portal. Where can you set this QR code up? It is under housekeeping, each individual office, under location, and you would basically upload the QR code. Again, we can't help with setting up the QR code, but again, there's no reason why this can't go to the client portal as well. So that's something a few people have been asking for that. Now, a big change with our invoices. These are private patient invoices. One of the complaints we've been receiving for probably a long, long time is this. I've issued an invoice to a patient. I've issued invoice number whatever to Jackie for $10, and please pay this amount. So this is the original invoice that Jackie received. Since then, Jackie has made a payment. Let's say Jackie has actually paid us for $10. She gave us a cash, that sort of thing. Up until now, you could not reproduce that invoice showing the payment and the paid amount. You could produce a receipt with details, but you couldn't actually reproduce that invoice with the updated payment information. And now you can. So I just made this $10 payment. And if I now reproduce this invoice, you're going to see, even though the original invoice said it was, $10, you're now going to see the payment was made and the balance is zero. So you can now go back and give the patient a paid copy of the same invoice. Now, not everybody wants to be able to do this, so this is something that you can turn off or on. It's under settings, customize invoice. It's in the client invoice receipt, and you want to show applied payments. What that means is when you print an invoice, whether it's the first time or whether you're reprinting it months later, any payments that have been applied to that invoice will be reflected. Again, you need the current release. You need 5659 to do this, but this is something a lot of people have been asking for. Hopefully that makes sense. couple a couple things with the web that I want to talk about recently. We're always making more enhancements to the web version. We want to make this match the desktop version ultimately with every function. The web version, every financial screen is now available on the web version. Client activities by service has been available for a long time. But client activities by invoice is now available. That wasn't before. This is on the newer version, and activities by payment are all available as well. So these are all now available on the web version for you to look at, and you can delete as well if you need to. You'll notice that some of you may not be aware of this. We have a new activities by service screen that's a bit more advanced where we're showing quantity in units and minutes and codes and descriptions and adjustments. That's kind of the main thing that we've added onto the screen. This is an option. It's on the desktop version as well. I'll go into here where we have these extra columns. In case you're not seeing those extra columns, it's under Customize Accounting and tick off enhanced activity by service listing. That has been in there for quite a while. A lot of people don't know about it. Why would someone choose not to turn this on? Like, why would someone say, I don't want to see all that information? If your screens are too small, if your resolution's not good, if all these columns don't fit on a screen, that's why you might not want that. You might not want that to, to show up. So, but we encourage you to turn this on. Again, it's under settings, customized accounting, enhanced activity by service screen. Been in there for quite a long time. So even if you don't have an up-to-date update, you probably do have that. A couple new reports I want to go through, and then we'll talk about what's in the works. We're running a little late. We always are running a little late. The under reports, there are two reports have been added recently. Some people will find value in these, some may not. Patient appointment calendar, provider appointment calendar. They're old school printed reports. Patient appointment calendar. I have a patient. We'll put in my favorite patient, Jackie Abate here. And we want to basically just give Jackie a calendary looking sheet that she can walk out the door with. We find this is primarily used for if patients are coming in very often, or it's a pediatric clinic where the kids are coming in 3 days a week for quite a long time. It's kind of handy to give them this sort of a format instead of sending out text messages or emails, whatever it happens to be. So you can produce this kind of a report now. Again, where is it? It's under reports, scheduling, provider, patient calendar. I can say don't show canceled appointments. So they're only going to see um, the ones that are that are actually still in place. There's an equivalent to that called a provider report, where again we're seeing provider appointment calendar, the same sort of thing. And again, so the provider, again, I don't find this one as useful, quite frankly. But we have a couple of people who've asked for it. You can also have this one because it may be leaving the clinic. You can also say don't show the last name of the patient, don't show cancellations. So if it's actually leaving the clinic, you're just going to see first names on there. So this may be handy. This one I don't think is as handy as the patient one, but the patient one will be pretty handy. The other last report I want to talk about was added quite a while ago, but a lot of people don't know about it, is something called the compliance report. Compliance report shows you patients who are not living up to their treatment plans. I'm going to run it. Operations, compliance report. I only want to see patients who are deficient, meaning they're not living up to their treatment plans. What this shows you is all those patients who have been approved for a certain number of visits, like 3 visits per week, 2 visits per week, but are not living up to that expectation. This one's coming in an average of less than once per week. This one's barely coming in at all. So these are patients that are not living up to what their treatment plan says they should be. And where is that treatment plan stored? Incidents, treatment plan, 3 visits allowed every 7 days. So again, any questions about that, please contact support, because again, I'm going a bit quickly here, and they'll tell you how to set that up. I want to talk briefly about some of the new things we are working on over the course of the next little while. Number one is enhancements to the AI, to PenPal, as Matt was speaking about. We want the ability to be able to record a full hour-long treatment session and have the note created. That presents more of a storage and processing speed issue. We can do it. It's just a case of how long it's going to take to process an hour of conversation. So we are working on that. We're adding in something called payer-specific warnings. What that means is you'll be able to say, for Medicare, every 10 visits, I want a warning that pops up. For Blue Cross, every 15 visits, I want a warning that pops up. So that should be the next build or two, next release or two. The client portal, again, I mentioned some things with the client portal we're working on. Two of the big ones, reprinting of receipts. So, for example, now that we have those invoices fixed, we want the patients to be able to reprint those invoices as well. So if a patient needs a receipt, they won't have to bug you. They'll be able to print a proper looking invoice right from the portal. A big one with the client portal is the ability for the patients to add themselves to the waiting list. So if a patient cannot find an appointment they want, they will be able to add themselves to the waiting list, and then automatically they will show up in that waiting list, and you'll get a notification they've been added, because you may want to take them out of it. Maybe it's not appropriate that they added themselves. So that is coming as well. A bit of one that we've run into, a bit more of a recent thing, is this pending forms. Pending forms, this is where your intakes are coming in, where all of your faxes are coming in. Well, this is becoming a big bucket now. This is becoming a big thing because a lot of people are using it and a lot of forms are coming and going. We're going to be adding a per location function in here. So if you have, let's say, 4 or 5 locations and you don't want all the forms coming into one big giant bucket, you will be able to actually say, this one's location one, this one's location two. So each location will have its own bucket of forms if you wish. And what else do we have? More work on the web version, producing invoices, payment entering, payment processing, that sort of thing. That's in the works as well. And the big one Matt also had mentioned is the ability for Wired Client to be fully usable from Practice Perfect. So when patients do reply to text messages, whether it's about appointments or they just send a message to a provider, whatever the case is, on top of how it's already working, which is coming into Wired Client and maybe going onto the phones, it will come right into probably the contact log. We're toying with having a filter on the contact log to see everything or just text messages. So they're not all kind of lumped together. You'll be able to filter them out. So there will be this automatic messaging from our client coming back into Practice Perfect. And I see everything I've mentioned happening, well, hopefully within the next 3 or 4 months. It's not long term stuff. A lot of these are already underway. And I think that's all I have for you on what's in the works. And again, I just want to encourage you guys, updates are free. Phone support, if you have trouble doing updates, we're not charging for updates. There is no reason why you shouldn't be on the newest version. I can't think of any reason why anyone can come up with for not being current with Practice Perfect. We don't take away features, all we're doing is adding. We make sure we're very careful not to take things away unless they're some sort of problems or are problematic. Again, I guess we're going to head into the Q&A. Matt, maybe I'll hand it back to you for that moderation.
Absolutely. Thank you. I will get the screen share going again.
A little afraid to see what Carrie's been up to, but
All right, so we've made it to the Q&A portion of our seminar. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Carrie has been amazing as ever and has been answering a bunch of the questions as they come up. But yeah, let us know if you have anything else we can answer for you.
and again, if there's anything really specific to your clinic, phone support. Again, your support's included in your subscription pricing. So don't be shy about bugging them about any small little thing. If it's something that is specific to the seminar, by all means, ask away. But anything like I can't do this or I can't do that or I'm having trouble with doing something specific, feel free to bug support with it. So, Matt, do we want to take a look at the chat and see what's outstanding, or is Carrie kind of batting them all down, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, so I'm just scrolling through the chat right now. We've got a couple update requests, which is really nice to see. Uh, Questions about billing directly from Practice Perfect to insurance companies. We're going to get support to follow up about that. Um,
Actually, let me point out one more thing, if I can. Let me just find it, and then I'll take the screen back. For things like I'm trying to figure out where it is here. For things like requests, if people have ideas about, suggestion box, let me just share my screen again, if that's okay, real
yeah,
quick.
of course.
On our website again. So if I share screen, okay, there we go. On our website, and feel free, we reply to every single one of these. These do not get ignored. Everyone gets usually a personal reply from me, as a matter of fact. Contact us on our website, practiceperfectemr.com. There is a suggestion box at the very, very bottom where you can put in who you are, the contact, description of the suggestion, and the sort of the validation for the reason, and submit. And those do come right to me. So I encourage you to submit things this way because if you contact me about a suggestion, the first thing I'm going to do is ask you these questions. So save a step and fill out a form. Okay.
Cool. Back to the chat. Can't figure out how to get the welcome text to send when the initial appointment is booked. So we can have support follow up with you about that. We do have a specific trigger in Wired Client called prior to the first visit. So if it's a brand new patient, they're showing up for their initial evaluation, you'd like to send them your intake forms beforehand or instruct them to come a little early to fill them out in the office. We can have a different appointment reminder that goes out to them. A client came in and I missed it. Is this speech to text SOAP note option? Yes, we do have the dictation that's offered with PenPal as well. How to choose between dictation and AI. This is also explained in the PenPal AI training video. So if you want to use the dictation, you're just clicking the little microphone icon next to each field. But if you want to use the AI itself, there's a microphone icon in the function bar that you'll be clicking. 7 cents a page for incoming faxes. Is PenPal AI accessible to everyone? Yes, it is. We are currently in a trial. If you want to get started, just send an email off to support and we'll get you going. Uh, is texting free? Unfortunately, no, but we do have a free 2 month trial. Once the trial period is over, it's $55 a month.
And one thing I just want to reiterate is we pay for texting. This is not money pouring into Practice Perfect. There is a fee that we pay the carriers and the processing company Twilio for texting. So there is a there is a cost to this. It's not something where it's just extra money coming in, just so everybody knows that. We'd love to do it for nothing, but there is a cost.
You will get a copy of the webinar afterwards, so we're going to be sending a recording to everyone. It will also be posted on our YouTube channel and the Learning Center. Can Wired Client be used on a mobile device? The website itself isn't mobile responsive, so what you may find is depending on the device, the screen gets cut off a little. You can still use it if you're able to like scroll over to the different options on the site, but it isn't mobile responsive at this point.
Something we may look at doing, actually.
Mhm. Can you email the patient calendar? Yes, you can. Uh, Emailing the client calendar, yes. Um, I'm a client of CBS. Should I be on the latest version of Practice Perfect?
No reason why not. I would speak to CBS about it, but we have many CBS accounts who are on the latest version, unless there's a reason why not. They should be aware of it because they need to know what version you're on. But we can do the tail wagging the dog if you want. You can just arrange the update with us, and then it's like, oops, sorry, CBS, they're on the latest version. So you can certainly just arrange it with support, and we'll update you, and then CBS will find out about it, which is totally fine.
Uh, we got a couple happy Halloweens. And the last one, is there a way to trigger the new client text message for a client that booked less than 24 hours before their initial appointment? Right now, if a client books less than 24 hours, we have to manually send it.
Well,
Hmm.
this new feature will do that. Remember, if they book within 24 hours, they'll get a text message right away that says they have the appointment booked, right? So the new feature
Hmm.
will definitely do that
Hmm. Yeah.
because it's not a reminder at this point, right?
Mhm.
You just booked an appointment.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking of the prior to the first visit message. That one may not necessarily trigger, but they would certainly get the one for the appointment being booked.
As soon as they booked it, yep.
Hmm. Yeah. But that's pretty well all we had for the questions. And
Just the one from Rhonda came in. How do you remove a provider after they've left so they don't show in our provider dropdown? You can do that. Contact support. They can easily help you with that.
a drag and drop
Can
for.
you add drag and drop for option for uploaded documents? Something we're looking at doing. Easier said than done, but we are looking at doing that and sort of browsing as well. Again, any of these new ideas you have, suggestion box from the website. We're happy to entertain all of them, and we're pretty candid about about if we're not going to do something or why we're not going to do something or that sort of thing. So don't be shy.
Excellent. And here's our contact information. So best way to get us, always emailing support@practiceperfectemr.com. That automatically creates a ticket in our customer service system. So typically guarantees the quickest response time. You can also dial in. This does create a ticket as well, although there can sometimes be a slight delay between the conversation and that ticket getting entered, which is why we always suggest email.
Email's
So
always best. Yeah, yeah.
great. Uh, is the AI trial free? Yes, it is. The price we were kicking around was $20 a month per provider. Um, but we are still in the trial period. Will be for the foreseeable future.
And to be candid, again, if people want to start recording hour-long conversations and storing hour-long conversations and processing hour-long conversations, our costs are going to be higher than $20 per provider per month. So that could change depending upon how it's used. We don't know yet.
Awesome.
Carrie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes, you can create your own assessment form with Practice Perfect. The question just came in, just contact support and absolutely you can create your own forms, 100%. Okay. All right. We'll see everybody soon.
Thanks, everyone. Take
Have a
care.
great week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.